Today we are going to discover the best spots to go if you want to enjoy autumn. Hello, 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 welcome back to the Wanderway Finders. We are your hosts, Diana and Malcolm. Today we're going to talk about autumn, and there are some city and country that during this time of year becomes majestic, colorful like a paint, and we're going to start with Prague in Czech Republic. And during this time of year, it turns into a really picturesque city. The colors of the architecture mix with the orange and yellow trees, creating a living postcard. In the morning, usually you can find the fog, and this really creates this gothic vibe. And if you want to enjoy it more, you can take a walk alongside the Patlava River. And this simply gorgeous because there are all the trees on the side and also the iconic bridges, and there is the iconic Charles Bridge. So it's just a little gem in the middle of Europe. You can also enjoy the nature by visiting the park of Letna, Pefit Hill, and Kampa Island. And if you want to experience the autumn vibes, why don't take our river cruises at sunset or wander in the old town square. And if you want to add just a little bit of spookiness, you can also walk inside the Viziarda Cemetery. So this is our first destination if you want to enjoy autumn. But the second destination that we have is Edinburgh. Famous only for castle, but it does offer more, like a lot more. And maybe you can introduce us to all the things that you can do in Edinburgh during this time of year.
Absolutely. I think Edinburgh is a beautiful city in Scotland. Even when it's not Halloween time or autumn, it is just one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The weather you'd probably be expecting at this time, we're averaging about 12 degrees, maybe on a high. On a low, it gets pretty low because it's Scotland. When we talk about autumn, we experience a very vibrant feeling around the city, be it because of the trees and just the cultural atmosphere. The old town especially has this particular atmosphere with the fog often rolling over the volcanic rock that is Arthur's Seat, which you can hike to as well if you have any free time. And at that, you then get the Edinburgh Castle at the top of that walk in Old City. So imagine climbing to the top of Arthur's Seat in the early morning gives you these panoramic city views, and touring Edinburgh Castle can only be made better in this period of time, not only because of the colors, but also because it's off peak. So you don't expect to have as many people there as you would in the summer. You can also look for certain local events that will happen. Usually around this time, we're talking late October, you've got the Scottish International Storytelling Festival, which offers a very unique cultural immersion.
Wow, I mean, I also can add another festival, Samhain Fire Festival, where you can watch drummer, fire dancing, and paradise through the old town. You can also add a little bit of Halloween in Edinburgh by taking the ghost tour dedicated to the city haunted legends. And if you even want to enjoy more the folklore of Scottish, you can just go on some old taverns and eating and drinking and try the traditional whiskies from Edinburgh or also other regions of Scotland. So Scotland, and especially Edinburgh, can offer experience that blend history and fascination, elegance and architecture, and mystery with ghost stories, and also some Celtic roots, because with the architecture, it brings you also back in time with this salty energy. So I think it's a really, really good city to visit during this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. So for what I had is Kyoto, Japan. And once again, mid-November to early December, you get that peak leaf viewing experience in Kyoto. So you would expect pleasant and dry average temperatures. And what they experience is the ultimate autumn destination in Japan would be Kyoto, although there are some other destinations that are just as pretty. you'd be expecting the same deep reds and oranges of Japanese maple trees. The air is very clear and the weather is just perfect for walking. One of the key activities you could probably do is visiting Tofukuwa-ji Temple, which is renowned for its fiery maple leaves, and the Ashirayama bamboo grove. Very interesting nature things that you can do that will offer like a great autumn experience, as well as the many temples like Kiyozumu Dera. They offer special nighttime illuminations to showcase that autumn foliage. You've got to keep in mind though that autumn is peak season for domestic Japanese travel as well. So while the weather is great, it's very popular and expected to be as crowded as Japan usually is, but a little bit more, especially on weekends.
But if you want to go into a more calm type of city, but still enjoy autumn, you should go to Ljubljana in Slovenia. It's the capital of Slovenia and is one of the most underrated cities of Europe. But it actually is one of the hidden gems that Europe has, especially during autumn. The city comes alive with the warm tones from the ochre-colored trees and the presence of castle that offers you a truly breathtaking view. Ljubljana is a very peaceful and quiet city, and it's perfect for those who want to travel without a rush. So if you want just to come, get away, that is the city for you. And you can enjoy little moments like walking alongside the river, or take a cafe along the river, or walk under the chestnut and walnut trees, or explore the woods and forests are surrounding the city. One of the most beautiful places to visit during this time of year is the Tivoli Park, which turns red and orange, and that is perfect for do picnic, because the temperature in Slovenia during this time are between 10 and 15 degrees. So it's not that cold. Rarely it drops below 5 degrees, so you can really enjoy the weather and while being outside. If you want, you can also stop by the central market, where you can find local products like honey, roasted chestnut and mushrooms, and taste simply but delicious Slovenian dishes. And of course, you cannot miss the Ljubljana Castle. Even though it's small, it's really famous and charming, and is the jewel of the city. So yeah, it's underrated, and not everybody knows about this city, about this capital. But I really suggest you to just take a look, and maybe it could surprise you. I know that you have also another point, like another spot to visit in Slovenia. Isn't that right?
Yeah. I think Slovenia tends to be quite a popular place in autumn to visit. Not very many people know about it, but the people who do love it. So I've got Lake Blend in Slovenia, which isn't necessarily the coldest time of the year this autumn. You can still get highs around 15 degrees in October, and Lake Blend is highly photogenic. So the surrounding Julian Alps and forests that transition into fiery colors is the main reason to visit this destination. So we're thinking contrasts of orange and red leaves against a turquoise lake. It's beautiful. There's also an island church, and the medieval castle is stunning. At the Church of Assumptions, you can do a 6-kilometer path walk around the lake, which is just perfect with these type of autumn weather where it's not too cold yet. This period also avoids heavy tourist traffic that you'd usually get in summer in Slovenia, which provides the perfect opportunity to hike the nearby Vintar Gorge, which, by the way, actually closes in late November. So if you're going to do this, you probably need to do this early autumn rather than later. It is definitely one of those areas that we should, and everyone should try and get to travel in.
Yeah, I mean, even though Slovenia is as one of the small country in Europe, it really has a lot of things to do. And another city, always in Europe, is Bruges. I don't know. Bruges. Bruges.
Burgess.
In Belgium. And is one of those cities that attracts many tourists at this time of year. And it's easy to see why, because it becomes absolutely beautiful. For me, it's simply for the chocolate, because I'm a chocolate lover. And this city is best known if you want to enjoy a real hot chocolate, because it's thick and so full of flavor. And since there are so many cafes that are offering the traditional Belgium style hot chocolate, I really suggest you to go there, simply for this reason, and also to enjoy the mix of architecture. And there is medieval architecture and the nature. You can explore the city through its canal or climb the Belfry Tower at sunset to admire the breathtaking view. As I said before, there is this medieval vibe thanks to the historic architecture, and there is nothing particularly spooky about this city. And the city markets in autumn are just perfect for tourists, because it gives you the possibility to try typical food and typical drinks, and at the same time it throws you back in time and into this medieval fairy tale town. But if you want something more Halloween, more spooky, there is no better place than go to Transylvania in Romania. That is the city of Dracula and all the vampire legends. If you are really a Halloween lover, if you want to experience Transylvania during this time of year, because even if you are not a big fan of this festivity, you are going to love it. Transylvania is full of forests, fortress and fog during this time of year. And in October, you can see the Bran Castle that opens for the guests, but is illuminated by the candlelight and also the Halloween events. City like Sibiu and Braslav are incredibly charming during this time of year. You can see the Gothic architecture and also the seasonal festival. And the most famous celebration is the Bran Castle Halloween party, where you can find torches, costume, dancer, and all sort of Halloween theme fun. If you want more of the city, of this more of the city is like a region. If you want to discover more of this region, you should visit Sighiasora, that is the birthplace of Vlad the Impaler, or go hiking in the Carpathian Mountains, or also simply, take a walk during in the forest, because it's really stunning the autumn in this region. So Transylvania is a perfect blend between magic, autumn, and the spirit of Halloween. We need to talk about Salem in the United States, and I think you got a lot to say about this city.
Absolutely. So Salem in Massachusetts, it's a historical core, especially when we talk about towns that live for Halloween. The vibe in Salem is probably going to be transformed from a quaint little historic town into a month-long immersive festival in October. Its identity is inseparable from its history. So we've got to think about the 1692 Salem witch trials. This isn't fiction, by the way. It's a sobering look, a mass hysteria that happened in Salem that actually ended up to the burning of the witch trials. So you can imagine that the experience you'll get when you're in that town, especially around Halloween, is massive crowds. It's necessarily, you might want to book in advance, I would say, if you're visiting this place, and that being tours, museums, or restaurants, because these places sometimes sell out months in advance. The atmosphere is electric. We're talking street performers, psychics, and pop-up shops everywhere. The beautiful thing with Salem as well is it's small enough for you to walk everywhere. So of course, the key sites will be the Witch History Museum and the old Burying Point Cemetery. So quite the place to visit.
I mean, Salem is the city of the witches, and but if you want another city in the United States where you can celebrate Halloween, I suggest you to go to New Orleans. It's always a breathtaking city and is one of the most visited city of USA because it's full of character. And also during autumn, you can go there and see how they celebrate everything with music. The city during this season mixes jazz, voodoo, and Halloween into a fascinating and spiritual blend. From October to November, you can find voodoo ceremonies, jazz parade, and events that fill the air with rhythm and mystery. One of the most famous parade is the French Quarter Parade, and in New Orleans there are also many tours of haunted mansions, perfect for who loves really Halloween and supernatural themes. During Halloween, and not only that day, the city comes alive with the live concerts, street performances, and candlelight cemetery tours, where music and spirituality intertwine into a truly unique way. It's interesting how each city in the same country celebrate in its own way in Halloween. Halloween in New Orleans is more like less spooky, but more fun in a certain way. Instead of in Salem, it seems really spooky and terror, and you need to be scared by everything that you see.
Yeah.
And instead of New Orleans, it's like more fun, more joyful.
Yeah, no, you're right. And as I had some points on New Orleans as well, it's pretty much a big party. We know Mardi Gras as one of the bigger parties in New Orleans, and this now turns into our second Mardi Gras. So the focus of the city is, of course, blending that French, Spanish, Caribbean, African influence. And it leads to a very distinct approach to that spirituality around Halloween. Because we've got to think about the history of voodoo in the area. There's a lot of focus on figures such as Mary Laveau and the unique above ground cemeteries, which is as the City of the Dead. The experience is, as you said, it's a massive party. Especially on Frenchman Street. These are large, spontaneous parades that happen, and the elaborate costumes that could almost rival Mardi Gras. So the energy is also like decentralized. So it's highly focused on the music and the street cultures. Although you do have very unique tours that you can do during this period of time, which would be the cemetery tours. So St. Louis Cemetery, number one. These are a must. And you also have to take into context that in October, it's still quite warm, muggy. It's unlike that crisp autumn air that we're probably used to in the Northeast. It's definitely a place to look at. And I mean, without mentioning too much, there's also another area that you can probably travel to in New York, known as Sleepy Hollow. And it's got an eerie vibe, so a bit similar to Salem as well. And it's I think it's the setting of one of the Washington Irving's classic 1820s short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So we're thinking more of a sophisticated, gothic, and deeply atmospheric experience if you visit this location. The town then is mostly focused on the story of the Headless Horseman. The entire town embraces this legend, especially the surrounding areas like Old Dutch Church and the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. So the experience you're expecting to find is more like the Great Jack-O-Lantern Blaze, which is a spectacular display of over 7,000 hand-carved illuminated pumpkins that require months ahead of planning, and you'd imagine if you want to attend this, you've got to book months ahead.
We are going to move a little bit more in the south. We are going to talk about Mexico with Oaxaca, because of course when we talk about autumn, we think about Halloween, but Halloween is important also in other parts of the world, such as in Mexico. There, Halloween is more like Días de los Muertos, And this celebration, especially in Osaka, is one of the most beautiful festivals in the world because the city and really the whole country turns into an explosion of color, love, and light. It's a celebration of the death, yes, but it's celebrated through color and joy. One of the most beautiful places to visit in the city during this time of year is Sosokotlan Cemetery, which is illuminated entirely by candles. There is music all night long, and the city fills with parade like the comparsas. There are processions with dancers, masks, and live bands. I don't know if you know the movie Coco by Pixar.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
That is the vibe that you're gonna find in this time of year in Mexico. Full of color, full of music, a lot of emotions, and it's just beautiful. I assume something that at least once in your life you need to experience. And also, as we said before, we celebrate life and we celebrate death. And in these regions in Latin America, spirits and faith is really, really deep. So during this day, family visit the grave of their beloved one, and they make ofrendas, which are something like gifts and offerings of food, drinks, and small tokens to honor and remember those who have passed. So Dias de los Muertos is another way to celebrate what we might call Halloween, but it's completely different in spirit. It's nothing spooky or to be feared of, but it's more like a way to celebrate life, memory, and connection. So here we go. We have many different cities from different parts of the world, especially Europe and the north part of the globe, let's say like that, because in the north part of the world right now is autumn. It's not spring. And maybe if we talk about Oceania right now, it's sort of springtime, I think. So it's not like really autumn type of season. So yeah, we touch in Europe. We touch Transylvania. We touch Edinburgh, Prague, Bruges, Slovenia, and we also went to Asia with Kyoto, and then we moved to America with Salem, New York, New Orleans, and then also Oaxaca in Mexico. A lot of cities where you can go and take a look of autumn, and also why not also experience some different type of Halloween festivity and celebration.
Absolutely. I think you've pretty much covered every single city we've been to, and it is beautiful. Autumn is a lovely time to be out and about and exploring.